So basically, the solution for pretty much in business for any of us, we usually, if we've had a technical background, we focus on the like for me, I like computing numbers and calculating, and I actually love doing the accounting. But I've decided to move into the teaching aspect and sharing my knowledge because the actual calculations in doing it, I can actually work with a bookkeeper that does that for my company now, but I can use my knowledge to help a lot more businesses. So the reason that businesses exist and our focus, I call it the 4 C's, in my strategy formula. Number 1 is having a cash account, or, whether it's savings for, minimum 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Usually we as accountants will recommend that you have a year or more. 6 months is bare minimum. 3 months, chances are if you haven't figured out sales and marketing, and your family is counting on it, you may have to look for a part-time job to be able to stabilize your overhead so that you're not worrying about trying to make money and then you create a bad reputation and you create a bad reputation in the marketplace, and then you have more issues. It's better to have that cash reserve on hand to be able to do that. So the cash, the second C after cash is, okay, we need to have some sort of a line of credit, some sort of a credit backing, or some sort of a cash savings. Number 2, we need to have a customer database or a customer list, or what they call the U economy, or having the ability to create a personal economy, what Bob Proctor calls a personal economy. I'll get into that as we get into the sales video series that I'll be doing over the next few weeks. But you need to have a personal economy. And that personal economy will consist of what we call a sales funnel. It's like a step-by-step system that allows you to attract your ideal customer avatar or your ideal customer. And the solution to most all of business problems, like I've been telling you, is actually your very next customer, because it is that customer focus, and that is the second C. Having the focus on the customer allows us to generate the sales in a proper way where we actually add value to the market, and then we convert that value into a paying client. The next C is having some sort of a credit backing. We do need to have the ability where we say we make sales in our business. Most people will use that cash up and they don't have their monthly overhead and their bills on an automated payment with the bank. It's very important that you have a credit system that ideally, you would pay your credit card off within 30, 60, 90 days. If you can't do it within 30, 60, 90 days, let's try to do it in 180 days. Otherwise, your business is not doing enough sales or marketing, you're not generating enough capital or cash, and you're not able to maintain that business. Eventually, we call it a going concern in accounting. What a going concern is if we see a business that starts to have a net loss for long enough, we call it a going concern, which means that we have to do our financial statements and disclose to the investors and or the public that this business is now in danger of going into a position of loss, or it may even close down. That's why 90% of businesses will actually fail, because these very simple strategies that I know may not be something that your business or you actually know. Even if you have a large accounting department, you might be in sales, or you might be in product creation, or you might be in another department, and you might be that executive or that entrepreneur. And if you don't understand what a going concern is, then we buffer that and we prevent that by having some sort of a business credit line. Ideally, we allow the business to maintain its cash sales in the bank account for 30, 60, 90 days. We use our, credit to pay for things, and then we pay our credit off within, ideally within 30, 60, 90 days. And then we can use our business line of credit if we need to pull from that to actually cover the credit cards if we have to. So the management of credit in your business allows your business that extra 2 to 3 months to generate sales and revenue without having to use up the cash that you have saved. Then you go into the next C in business, which is if all else fails in your business, and this is your dream, and you have a customer base, you have a great idea, and you really, really want it to move forward, as accountants, what we do is we create your, we call it forecasts and projected financial statements, or projected statements for what the possibility of your business to generate revenue. We look at multiple factors, and we run simulated financial statements. We run a balance sheet, we run an income statement, we run statement of cash flows, and maybe a statement of how much has this person invested in their own business. Were they willing to risk it all? Like I said, when I started out in business, I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. Everything I earned in my job, I put it back in my business, and I was in a position of loss for the first few years, and I had to file a loss because I didn't know these things. But because I was able to take all of these painful lessons, like, okay, don't use the capital, right? If you can get all of this right, then chances are an angel investor or a bank or a lender will be willing to loan to your business. So mostly in my businesses, they have equity of 6, 7, 8, and 10 figures from my clients. The reason they have that equity, we call it goodwill in our customers. We can allow for that equity to then be borrowed against in a business. If you can, the last C is capital. So that means you're borrowing capital from a private lender, maybe a bank, maybe maybe a family member. But then if you don't have sales and marketing down and your message to market, it creates all of these problems. Pretty much all these problems that are here is because a proper strategy with a qualified financial advisor or a business consultant, a high-level consultant, did not look over this business plan. Business plans will, at the level that I work with, over 20 plus years of experience, I can look at all the details of the accounting statements, the bank statements, the customers, and so many, product creation. How are we actually creating the product from the beginning? Are we spending capital like I did in the beginning on, investing tens of thousands of dollars and getting a whole big product suite going and hoping to sell it like some clients do, and they wind up with a garage full of like books or CDs or DVDs, and then they're trying to sell it, and then they've invested their life savings. I've seen, I said I'll be telling stories. A good friend of ours, actually, he was selling a really, really good program. I really loved the program. He was a very good affiliate of ours, a really good referral partner. He helped us out a lot. He was a great financial planner, but he was not very, very wise in sales and marketing. So he had an idea to create a program for his plan. I can't say what it is because I just want to make sure that I protect everyone in confidentiality, but he created a program. And he had an idea, and he asked me to be in his audience with the people that will be filming his program and his product. And I looked at him and I said, well, who's filming it? How much? Well, he says, I'll be investing, about maybe $50,000 to do this. So he did. He, against my wishes, or my advice, and against my advice and my wishes, because I really loved him. I cared about him. He was a good friend. And I have this thing where I say love a lot. So please understand, it's not personal. It's just intimate love. It's just a love that I have a passion I have for my work, my clients, my friends, my colleagues. I really try to step in that place of compassion and serving. So he invested, against my wishes, $50,000 up front. And what wound up happening is that he got a contract going that he had to pay this amount of money up front on a retainer basis, and he could not back out of the contract. So he hired this company to do his sales and marketing, and there it was. A couple weeks into working with this company, things weren't working out, and he could not get all of people to fill up the room, and he could not get his program done, so he wanted a refund. He had used his dad's inheritance, not inheritance, he actually borrowed the money from his dad, and his dad was older, and his dad believed in him, gave him all of his money, and he basically wound up in court and lost in court, and he lost $50,000 of his dad's money. It bothers me, I think until now, that it was such an unwise financial decision because he didn't take the time to build a relationship with that company that was doing the fulfillment. He didn't have a proper attorney read his contract. And these days, there are programs like Legal Shield that for businesses, I recommend every business. I don't promote Legal Shield personally, but I do have colleagues and friends that do. If you need legal protection, they read over contracts and they let you know if there are things in there that maybe you shouldn't be signing. But as a general rule, you do want to run everything in a business through a CPA or a qualified accountant and or an attorney.